Yeah. Come sit. Beatrice, take that moment there. Honestly, I love this block of films. So where to begin? Let's start with you, Beatrice, because in your film, I'd like to know, you captured this family beautifully, and there was a reference to that the mother made to her two adult children who we don't see. Are these adopted children? These are adopted children, the two younger ones we see now?
So, no, she has 4 children, but 2 are grown up, and I met them, I filmed with them a little bit, but there had to be a decision to either include them and develop their stories or not, and it was short film, and I think we both decided to concentrate on the life which she has in the hotel right now, and in a way her other 2 children are adults, and she concentrates on her life for the kids, but not all, but these kids are still small, and she wants to give them this better life that she imagines it could be. So that's why we stay only with them in the film.
Okay, so she is single parenting these 2 children?
She is, yes.
It's in Columbia, Maryland, is that right?
It is in Columbia, Missouri.
Missouri, I'm sorry, Columbia, Missouri. And you were living in Columbia?
Yeah, so I moved to Columbia 3 years ago, and I was a student at that time, and I knew that I'll make a film, but I had an entirely different idea. But then I was photographing her for a story about housing issues in Columbia, Missouri, especially after pandemic. The community that lost houses or couldn't afford houses was growing, and I met her, and we sort of had this great connection. And in back of my mind, I was like, wow, she's such a great person that I would like to spend more time with. And the very first day we met, I just asked, would she be even interested in the idea of me coming with the camera to her house? And she said, yeah, call me, give me a call.
It worked out well. She gave you quite a bit of access.
She gave me quite a bit. I think our relationship was very interesting because she was very open to me. So she would always say, come anytime. And I think I was working as a news journalist before, and I think that you don't get very close to to the people you interview. So I think I didn't know how to navigate that. And at the beginning, I was a little bit sort of almost like overprotective. I would be like, she doesn't want me to film that probably. But then I almost realized that it's sort of a disservice because she actually wants me to be there. So then the way it would work, I would just call her and say, how are you? Because I lived in that town, it was 10 minutes drive to her house. And she would be like, oh, tomorrow I'm going to this place and that. And I'll be like, can I come? And she's like, yes, come. So I would just start spending time with her and just being there in a way.
Well, so your film is highly observational, but it's not judgmental in any way, which I appreciated. And it's close quarters, so the interior of the small space they had. It's also how you looked at their movements. The audio part of it is also very good. You're hearing, it's very natural. You're just hearing what they're saying, where they're moving, how they're reacting to each other. And also, she's running, this is it's not a hotel anymore. It's been converted, right? She's also managing that facility. She's doing caregiving, and she's also mothering these 2 children. So her life is really full. You captured all of that really well. So we have a very full picture of her life, and also the striving she has for finding a home. She clearly is missing the rental that she had, but she simply couldn't afford it when the rent was raised. Toward the end of the film, she is now somewhere else. I'm assuming also a rental.
It's a mobile house, so it is a rental, and she has some sort of a payment. It's, when you rent to own, she hopes in the very future to own it. But it's in a way complicated because, so I had to finish film by this certain date. At that time,
13 days.
In a certain date, which was like after a year. And at that time, she was still at the hotel. And the interview's not here. In the film, we had interviews, I just didn't include. And in that interview, I asked her, how would you want the film to end? And she was like, moving out. But by the time she didn't move out, and at the beginning I was like, oh, there's no movie, she didn't move out, right? But then I looked at the footage and I just thought that I don't want this movie in a way to be about moving out, but about how do you create home in a place you live, and what does it mean to have a home? What is a home? So we finished film like that, and it premiered without after 6 months. But I still stayed in town, and one day she called me. She was like, you know what? I'm actually taking my last stuff from the storage that we saw, and I'm moving to a new place. And the reason I decided to put this at the very end of the movie, I just thought that it's a justice for her in a way. She still says, but you know, now you live check from check, and it's really hard. So I wanted to keep it that it's not a happy ending in a way,
right.
But for that moment, it is a happy ending for her.
Well, it's an honest epilogue. It's just something has happened that is at least somewhat positive for her. There's more space there. You know, it's still a mobile home, but there'll be more space, and perhaps the kids can ride bikes there more safely than living in a hotel near a freeway.
Yeah, I visited them before coming here, the day before I flew to Vermont, and they're all like, they're much older, the kids changed so much, and they each has their own room. They don't live in one room anymore, and you know, you can see how it changes the apartment, and she's very proud of it. And then of course for like half an hour or hour we talked about all the problems that are there. But it still feels like a happy place where she has her own, and she believes that that helps children to grow up better.
The job that she has, she's still doing caregiving?
She's doing a private nursing, yeah.
Does she go back to where she was living to do that, or she's moved on from that?
No, so at a hotel, basically how it worked, she worked at a hotel. That's why she didn't pay for the hotel. That's how it's not explained in the movie, and I planned to, but then I was like, that's really not about that, because in general, a lot of people in the United States and in Missouri State struggle with this problem with housing insecurity.
Yes.
So I didn't want to go into too many details of one family, because the reasons why families end up living in extended stay hotels are different, but also systematically it's a big problem. So in a way I wanted to know them, their character, and maybe break in a way stereotypes that people who have to live in extended stay hotels are somewhat, I don't know, having incredibly bad habits, or like it's sort of their fault, but there's just a lot of layers into that. So yeah, but answering to your question, she is just private nurse for other people. The lady that we saw, she has died already, but she was a brilliant person, so she just helps other people.
Well, just to wrap up my thought on this, the fact that you did not try to expand it to cover other families is, I think, the right decision, because the film is specific, but it's also emblematic of a larger problem that you're pointing to, that you know, people being houseless or having housing insecurity. So I think you did all that beautifully in a short film. I really appreciate that. What might be next for you? I'm going to come to Karina in just a minute, but what do you move? You're going to Lithuania now.
Yes, so after I finished this movie, after I graduated, I started working on another film, but just an assistant editor. So I will travel to festivals of that film, but I'm moving back to Lithuania after this festival.
Your home country.
Yes, my home country, and I'm gonna do something. Hopefully I will work in film. I would like to connect with the roots, and where I grew up, what I left. I think when you leave, you really think of what you left and where are your roots and who are you. And I feel like now there's a urge for me to connect with it, and maybe there's a way to document that.
Okay, you made a movie called Home, and now you're going home.
Right.
We wish you good luck, and please don't let this be your last film.
Thank you.
Okay, come back to us. Okay, Karina Cincoya. This is a luminous film. This is the second time I've seen the film, but first on the big screen. It's so beautiful. The portraiture is fantastic. Auntie is such I don't know whether it's the lines in her face or the depth of her laugh or the way you lit her or captured her. It's just exquisite. So congratulations on making a 60-minute feature, not 80 minutes, not 90, a 60-minute feature in which time passes. What you've done, I mean, we were trying to keep track, I was trying to keep track of the seasons, the movement of the seasons. At one point, I see a calendar that says 2017. Although that could have been a calendar from 4 years before that never changed. But what I'd like to know is the actual span of time here in this film, because I detected at least 4 seasonal changes. Can you shed some light on how long, from the beginning when you first met? She was your aunt, she was actually your aunt. She's your, no?
No.
She was somebody else, your family's aunt.
Like she was a cousin of my grandma, but then it's not my real family, because at that time, like in the Ukraine, like when the people like each other and they love each other, they were like a family. So they call themselves like a family, and then they become like a family to us, and that's how.
Okay, so you're free to call them granny or auntie?
Yes.
It felt, you're right, it feels like family, everybody.
Yes.
You're all extended family.
Yeah.
But what was the span of time that we're looking at here?
That was like 6 years of filming.
6 years. Okay. In the beginning of the film, you're depressed. You're living in London. So this then enters your life. Your family's in Poland.
Yes.
But were there relatives in Ukraine or not? Because they border each other. So
No. I've got like a real family, like by blood in Ukraine, but this is like a West Ukraine, and so it's not affected by that much by war. So they safe. So I'm happy, like they live kind of like the bordering with Poland.
So over the 6 years. Is Auntie still alive? Or?
Yes, she is. I lost the count, like how old she is, because she's always like, oh, I'm 90, oh, I'm 89, and then she's 90 for the last 3 years, I think. And so I don't like.
Wait a minute, she's stuck on 94?
84. She started at 84, and then we lost track, like how old she is, because also like I was filming for 6 years, then it was like another 1 year of like kind of putting the film together, and then there's like a 2 years already, like when the film is out. So I think it's like now it's 8 years or 9 since like.
Well, in the end of the film, you say you're 90 years old, so don't be so concerned about not remembering everything.
Oh yeah, true. So it's 92.
Is that reality, or you just made up 90 because it seemed like 90? I would like to know that. No, so maybe she's well over 90 years old.
Yeah, 92,
92.
probably. Yeah, that's right.
How often do you call her?
I try to call her like as often as I can, like a few times a month, or like. And then I went last year to Ukraine, and then I'm planning to go this year as well.
Okay. What was it like to encounter when you went? That was for the first time that you were in Ozerna, is that right?
Yes.
Just tell us, the film is so joyous in some ways. What was it like to encounter the women who made up the circle of this little village?
That was like amazing. It's like immediately I felt like at home. They were really like welcoming, and then there was like something beautiful in this. I felt like such a huge support. Like the women, they very much supporting each other. They like are creating this circle. Like they don't have husbands anymore. Most of them, they died, and they kind of like for me it was like a really amazing, and they were very like warm towards to me. I felt like I really loved, like, and I think what I missed in London for all those years, like there was like the true connection with people, like authenticity. And when I went to Ukraine, I felt like I felt this is it. Like this is like a real human connection without words, without I don't know what I'm doing, who I am, or like that was so beautiful. Then I was like, when first time I was filming, I was crying constantly, and then I found them so funny actually.
They're hilarious.
Like, hilarious.
The dialogue, impromptu dialogue is so hilarious. I must say, everybody was laughing. Yes, we're just, Well, yes, also counting the grandchildren, and then the great-grandchildren. I thought that was pretty funny also. Is it 8? Is it 10?
Yeah.
Well, she just had 2 more. Anyway, it's very therapeutic for you, I think, right? Although you do say to her early on in the film, you feel, she's talking about not wanting to go on, and you say you have some of those same feelings. Can you tell the audience by the time the filming was over that some of those feelings you had mitigated, that you're feeling that you have a brighter outlook on life?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's this kind of the journey of this film, my personal journey. I feel like it was like such an amazing gift to me that I decided actually to go there. I had this dream about going to Ukraine and discover my roots, and there was the most beautiful decision that I could make in life, and I just feel like I learned how one person might save your life in a way, like how love. I think everyone wants to be loved. This is a basic human condition.
Yes.
And then I experienced that, and then this love, this laugh, the kind of put me in a different position. I felt love, accepted, and that's when the healing started.
Yes.
And it's definitely like much better than it was.
Yes. This is to say, we're going to go to the audience now, but just one thing I would say. This is the power of film, right here, right? The redemptive power of film, deciding that you're going to try to find another path, and you take a camera, you record it, and the whole process changes you in a way. It is very, very powerful. Congratulations, it's a really great film, and I have to say we're fortunate to have this film here this year. I'm really glad you brought it to us.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
This is really amazing here. It's my first time in USA.
Yes. And Middlebury. You take the map of the United States, you keep looking, with a skinny little state, with a little dot there. Who has questions? And I'm going to ask, because I had to take this into the audience. Who has questions for either of these great filmmakers?
I'd love to know more about, for both films, how you physically did the filming of it. Like especially with your film, My Place Ozerna, there were so many intimate moments where it was hard to imagine that you had like someone else in the room with you, but also it was so technically shot and beautiful visually. I'd love to know more about that.
Thank you. So when I went first to Ozerna, my filmmaker friend Kasia, my background is photography, and my filmmaker Kasia was like, "Oh, why don't you make a film?" I was like, I don't really know how to make a film. And she's like, "Yes, you do." And she gave me her camera, and then I bought the mic, and then that's how it started. And then I was thinking, I was actually afraid to kind of go, like keep the camera in the hands. I wasn't like sure how it's going to look like, so I decided to just put on the stand. And then I was thinking, oh, actually that's going to give me time and observe the life. And I found this very fascinating. Like, it was so funny because London is like a metropolis, the most beautiful city in the world. I mean, there's many beautiful cities in the world. But then I found this like a beauty in this village. Like, I was more captivated. and then I was just, most of the time I was just shooting like, sometimes from the hand, like, but then it was very rare. And I was alone, yeah.
Never a cinematographer.
Yeah, no, because yes, because that will like destroy the whole intimacy. And actually, I was on a workshop in Poland, and then they were like pressing me. Oh, you have to go with cinematography. You have to go with cinematographer because it's gonna make the film like better. Like you need to find someone famous. And I was like. I don't know if I want to really do it because it's going to destroy it. And yeah, so my decision was like, no. Thank you.
Who else? Yes, go ahead.
First, thank you both for such illuminating films. For Karina, I just was reflecting on you obviously had an idea in making this film that was very personal. You were going to go, somehow it was, I imagine, it was about revealing or exploring some of your roots, and I'm curious to know if you have a comparison between what you imagined might come out of it and what actually did come out.
So I never imagined that this snowball that happened to me with the film and the story. When I went for the first time to Ukraine, I thought I'm gonna just visit them, I'm gonna say hi, and that's it, you know, and probably I'm never gonna go back. And then, but when I met Anslava and all these people, and that's more actually the beautiful woman there that I couldn't include in the film, because of course you need to make a decision and cut, and I just fell in love with them, and I was like, and my idea was in the beginning like, oh, I'm gonna make a film about Anslava because she's such an amazing character. She's beautiful. She's like, I don't know. I really want to, you know, make a film about her. And then I thought in the beginning it's gonna be short, and then, like, organically it's become like a film about us because they will keep talking to me, like they will keep talking to camera, and then in the beginning I was like, okay, can you just stop talking? You're destroying my documentary. And then I very quickly realized that's the energy, that's the, like a force energy that I need to follow, and then so I was like, yes, keep talking to me. And then I decided to go like I think it was like a maybe accident even. I go to the behind in the front of the camera, and someone told me, yeah, actually, Karina, this is the film about your relationship with you. And I was like, oh, like I'm not sure if I want to be in the front of the camera. So that was like a very long process of making the film.
So you increasingly figured out as you were making.
Yeah. It wasn't like in the beginning I've got. It was like a going with a life, and then I was really shy. I was really scared to show the footage to people. I haven't watched footage when I came back from Ukraine for a few years, to be honest. Like, yeah. I worked with editor. She was helping me out, and then we were choosing. Then there were like a work started, but then I was like, oh, I don't know what I did. I was scared, and then I get to the workshop in Poland, and then they helped me to find producer, and they were like, oh, maybe we can make like a big film, like a feature, and you know, so there was like a rolling, and then I wasn't expecting like nothing like that. I wasn't expecting I'm gonna end up one day in the United States with a film and talking to you. It was a beautiful journey. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes? No? Other hands up? Yeah, Rachel, go ahead, right here.
It's sort of a small question, but what happened in Portugal? Did you end up spending time there?
No. No, that was like my dream. My dream was always to go to Portugal, but then it was really hard to navigate in the moment because my life like speed up, and I was going to festivals, and then so I ended up in different places. But yeah, but I would definitely go there.
And you had said to me in the last couple of days that things conspired in your life to bring you back to Poland, which is where you live now. So what happened that you ended up back in Poland?
I had always like this hate and love relationship with London, and then clearly I wasn't happy there. And when I went to Canada last year with my film to Toronto, and then I felt so amazing there, and I just felt like at home. And I got like a dream again in the plane, and I was like, and I came back to London and I felt terrible. I was like, oh gosh, this is not my home. This is like something weird. It's not the feeling. And then the life kind of helped me because the landlady, she was like, okay, you need to all move out, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, that's the moment. That I didn't have a plan, nothing. I was so terrified, and I was just pack my bag in a few weeks and send it to Poland, and I was like, I'm going, and I was like, I don't have a plan, but I can't think about this. And now I'm like, yeah, now I'm connecting to my homeland.
That's good. Beautiful. Are we done with questions? And maybe we'll try to get them. We have one more? Let's do one more. And then we've got to wrap.
Hi, you mentioned you're a photographer also, and I feel like the composition, just the imagery was at least half of what made this film powerful. So how much, like, was it just spontaneous, the way you set up the shots, or how much work did you put into that? And yeah, beautiful film, thanks.
Oh, thank you. To be honest, it was like, I used my intuition and heart, and I was just following this. Like, that's, I think, the simplest question. Of course, sometimes I was like I had a problem, like, in the houses, like, how to make this look, like, interesting, or, you know, because it's like, you don't have much option. There was a very small room, and then everything is shot, like, in a natural light. But yeah, like, intuition, heart, and, like, my background.
Well, you have a terrific eye. Let's be honest. You're capturing things in such a beautiful way. Well, I love this. I mean, this is one of the favorite blocks that we put together. I'm glad you all came. Can we have one more round of applause? Beatrice Bunch-Sakatu and Corinna Betkowska, international filmmakers.
I would like to say one thing, like, because like Ukraine obviously is like my home as well in a way, like, and then everyone knows what is happening right now, like, you know, it's been invaded by Russia and the war and everything, and I met so many wonderful people and filmmakers, and then please, if you can support Ukraine somehow, that would be amazing, because actually they're in the front line, and and then we in Poland, we feel like they're protecting us from like a, you know, like a bigger war, like they're just fighting for us,
Yes.
for all of us. So please, if you can, like, somehow so Slava Ukraini.
Yeah, very good. Thank you all for coming.